everybody, let's go ahead and get started. This is Nutrition with Lynn, and if you want, we'll review real quick. Like we talk about every week, the 5 cups a day, 5 fists a day, remember? And 5 colors a day. So I'm just gonna ask you how you guys are doing with that, because I try to eat a fistful of vegetables or fruit at every meal, sometimes 2, so I make sure I get my 5 a day. So I wanna just remind you guys, and remember we did the plates where we made our own template. Do you still have those, and are you using them? You should be making most of your plate with vegetables or fruits and protein and very few carbs, because we're not very active. We sit a lot, so we shouldn't be eating a whole lot of carbohydrates, okay? So today we're going to continue our discussion with training principles. And one of the things that we talk about in the fitness world is called the NEAT principle. N-E-A-T. What it stands for is non-exercise related activity thermogenesis. Now that's a big mouthful of words. Thermogenesis is heat. So what we want to do throughout our day is create heat through activity. So non-exercise related activity thermogenesis. That means not our exercise class. When those of you come and exercise with me, that's considered your activity, okay? NEAT principle is, how do we create heat throughout our day? What can we do to create heat? A lot of us sit too much. So what we can do is, when we're sitting, we can be fidgeting. So I never stand still. Even when I'm standing, those of you that come and exercise, you notice that I'm either dancing or I'm swaying or I'm tapping my toes. So I'm always moving. We can do the same thing when we're sitting, okay? We can be lifting our knees. We can be wiggling our toes. We can be fidgeting with our hands. We can do arm circles, but anything that we can do to generate heat. Anytime we generate heat, we're burning more calories. So all of us need to move more. We sit, our society is very sedentary, and a lot of our clients are sedentary. Sometimes that causes things like edema in the appendages. So we need to get our clients moving even if they can't stand. So find ways, maybe every hour, maybe we can create 5 minutes where we do the same exercises that you do when they come in the morning. Maybe we could do them every hour just to get the circulation for those that don't move enough. Maybe we just get them out of the chair and we do a lap around the room once an hour. But we all need to create more heat during our day. We don't move enough as a society. And the more that things are done for us, the worse shape our society gets in. So I try to look at every activity I do. There's always an easier way to do it, but I don't do it that way. For example, when I need to water my flowers at home, I could easily hook up the hose to the faucet and stand there and water my flowers. But I don't. I use an old-fashioned watering can and a rain barrel, and I carry buckets of water to my plants because it's more activity, okay? Going up and down the stairs to do laundry, instead of doing one big basket full, maybe I make 4 trips. I try to find ways all throughout my day to create more activity instead of less, because your heart and your body is healthier for it, okay? So let's try not to let the clients just sit there and we bring things to them. Let's get them up and moving and make them do things for themselves, which is not only good for their independence, but it's also better for their health, okay? So another thing that we talk about in our fitness culture here is the SAID principle. S-A-I-D, like the word SAID. What it stands for is specific adaptations to imposed demands. Another mouthful, I know. Acronyms are fun, aren't they? Specific adaptations to imposed demands. What that means is, if I am trying to train for, let's say, a marathon where I have to run 26 miles, my body will physiologically adapt to whatever training I do with it. If I need to run 26 miles, I can't spend all of my training time swimming in a pool. I can use swimming as an alternative on a day off of running, kind of an activity, but I can't just swim every day and expect to run 26 miles. So those specific adaptations, exercise is a form of stress. So all those little physiological adaptations that our body does is what's helping us be able to do those activities of daily living. So for example, every client should be able to get in and out of a chair without using their hands. Well, am I going to do push-ups to try to get up and down out of a chair? Well, push-ups are going to work the upper body, but they're not helping me get up and down out of the chair. So what we can do is every other day we can get our clients to try to stand up out of a chair and sit back down without using their hands. That's a specific adaptation. Now, is that helpful for our clients to do activities of daily living? Absolutely. Because all of our clients have to be able to get up and down off of the commode. So everything that we can do to make our clients stronger for activities of daily living makes it easier for staff to help them do those things, okay? So specific adaptations to impose demands. If I have a client who's having trouble reaching in the cupboard, well then maybe I need to work on upper body strength and work on reaching. That's a flexibility thing. I can take a ball and do ball walks up and down the wall, and I can do different stretches so that it makes it easier for that client to get things in and out of the fridge or out of the cupboard. A jug of milk is 8 pounds. How many of our clients are strong enough that they can lift their own jug of milk? Well, if that's your client's goal, then we got to practice doing that, whether it's getting it in and out of the refrigerator or in and out of the car, anything in and out of the cupboard. So all of those activities, we have to practice them in order to get better at them. So that's the SAID principle, those adaptations that help us do those activities, okay? The last thing we talk about in fitness is the FIT principle. So a lot of people start an exercise program and they see a lot of results really quickly, but then they kind of start to get to a plateau where they don't see those changes anymore. And there's certain things that we can do to make it so that you keep progressing, because really all of those adaptations that your body's doing, that's a good thing. That means your heart is beating stronger, it's getting more output per beat, so it beats less often. The stronger your heart, the less often it has to beat, the longer it lasts, okay? We don't want our heart to wear out faster. We want it to slow down and just beat more efficiently, okay? So what we can do is called the FIT principle, F-I-T-T. The F stands for frequency. So if I start a workout program and I'm only exercising on Mondays and Tuesdays, I can add frequency by maybe making it 3 days a week. So maybe instead of Monday and Tuesday, I switch to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So changing how often we exercise is one way we can change and get us out of a plateau. The second thing we can do is change intensity. Maybe we're doing a resistance of 2 on the new step. Well, maybe now we switch to a resistance of 3. Or if I'm on the treadmill, I can go with an incline, or I can do a different intensity on the recumbent bike. Instead of level 3, I do level 5, okay? The other thing we can change is time. So if I start with 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes for your client is really hard. When I worked for the hospital, I had a patient who couldn't do more than a minute at a time when they started, but by the time they were there a year, they were able to do an hour. So every time that adaptation is made where that minute doesn't feel like it's challenging enough, we add another minute. So for example, we were walking our clients in the gym. Maybe they can only do 1 or 2 laps. Well, every time we take them to the gym, maybe we do a quarter of a lap further, and then maybe another half a lap. And every time we do it, we just progressively get them to where they can do a little bit more. So that's time. The last T is training. So my job as a fitness trainer is to change and periodize their programs so that clients are always progressing, because we don't want plateaus. We don't get stronger and fitter if we plateau. So what we have to do is we have to change the type. So sometimes I change their strength training workouts. So sometimes they do a different workout every time they come and see me. Sometimes they're on the recumbent bike. Sometimes I have them do the treadmill. Sometimes they do the elliptical. But every time they come in, I try to have them do something different so that they continue to progress. So the reason that a client or a person that's trying to get fitter sees results really quickly when they've started doing something is we've got a lot of adaptations going on. But if you aren't smart with your workouts, you're going to plateau, and then a lot of people get frustrated because they don't see the results that they were when they started, and then they just give up, okay? So we need to keep the clients progressing, challenge them, set goals. Maybe like in here, we have an exercise chart, and every time they complete their workout, they get a star on their chart. Maybe we could do something similar at home where, okay, how many times can you get out of the chair by yourself? And then have a little goal chart on the refrigerator where, while I did 5 this week, maybe next week I can do 6. So it's good for everybody to have goals. I'm a very goal-oriented person, so I tend to do that with myself. Every month, at the beginning of the month, I set training goals for myself to see if I can do it. I don't always achieve them, but I always have goals, okay? There's something that keeps us motivated, all right? The thing to remember with goals is to try not to reward with food. When we reward with food, it's not really sending the message that it's for fitness. It's more about the food, okay? So find other things that we can do. I have a prize drawer, so when the clients fill up their fitness chart, they get to pick a prize. And you can have something similar at home, and it doesn't have to be anything big or huge, but it does reward them for doing what they're supposed to do, okay? The next thing we're going to talk about is different body types and how we exercise and how we eat can be affected by our body type. So genetically, we're all built differently. We all have a different basal metabolic rate. We don't have the same number of calories in and calories out as a person sitting next to you. I don't give everybody in this room the same workout. Everybody has a different workout because it's based on what they can do, what they need to do, and I also factor in when I know what kind of body type they are, just because I can pretty much guess what kind of body type they are. You can also have a muscle biopsy done. I'm not going to do that, but you can tell just based on their genetics what kind of body type they have. So let's break those down. It's kind of interesting. So the first one is mesomorph, and that's a mouthful too. I know, I'm giving you a lot of big words today. Mesomorph is somebody who is very muscular but very lean. So these tend to be the athletes of the world. They can eat a lot of different types of food. They can do any type of workout, but they build muscle really quickly, but they don't store fat very readily. So a lot of athletes are mesomorphs, okay? So a lot of bodybuilders, if you've seen somebody who's a bodybuilder, I know a lot of our clients like to watch wrestling. A lot of those clients are mesomorphs because they get really big, okay? The next one is an endomorph. Now an endomorph doesn't gain muscle very easily, but they store fat very readily. Endomorphs, in the beginning of time, if the world starts to come to an end, the endomorphs are going to survive because they store fat really readily. So if there's periods of starvation, the endomorphs are going to last longer because they've got a lot of fat stores to pull from so they don't starve to death. So yay for us endomorphs, okay? We're going to survive if things get tough, especially now we have a pandemic, right? All right. So if I'm an endomorph and I don't gain muscle very easily, but I store fat very readily, carbohydrates, like I said earlier, some of us are not active enough. If we have an endomorph body type and we eat lots of carbohydrates, we're going to store those carbohydrates pretty readily, and that's where we get some of the apple pear shapes. We store it around our hips and our waist, okay? So if you store fat very readily, you should really be watching your carbohydrates, but you should also change your training. You need to be doing lots of cardio to burn the fat, but you also need to make sure you do at least 3 days a week of strength training because you're not gaining muscle as easily, and you need to make sure that muscle stays strong. Remember, after the age of 35, we lose up to 3% a year if we don't strength train, and that just makes us fatter. So we need to be careful with that, okay? The last one we're going to talk about is the ectomorphs. Now, the ectomorphs don't gain muscle very easily, but they also don't store fat very readily. So these are the guys that are out there that can eat 4 meals to my 1 and not gain a pound. It's very frustrating to watch somebody like this, but here's the thing with these people. A lot of times our society associates skinny with healthy. And when an ectomorph person drops over from a heart attack, a lot of us go, well, they were so healthy. Just because the person is thin doesn't mean they're healthy. We can't see what's going on the inside. And a lot of times what happens is the ectomorphs, since they don't have to get skinny through exercise, they tend to not eat very healthy. They can go to McDonald's and have the cheeseburger, fries, and a shake and not gain a pound, so they don't think about what that unhealthy food is doing inside their body. So sometimes the ectomorphs have a shorter lifespan, and it's been documented that they don't live as long because they don't have to do anything to stay lean. So if you're an ectomorph, you still need to exercise. Your heart is a muscle. You've got arteries and veins that need to be plaque-free. We need to not smoke. We need to watch those blood sugars and not overeat sugar, because all of the things that we have talked about up to this point are helping us stay healthy on the inside. We can't control which of these 3 body types we are. That's genetic. But we can change how we exercise, and we can change how we eat. All of us need the fats, the proteins, and the carbohydrates that we've talked about on that plate, okay? We need to get a good balance. And the way to do that is our 5 cups a day, 5 colors a day. We need to be eating more vegetables and more fruits so that our body gets the nutrients that it needs. So at every snack and at every meal, we should be eating a carbohydrate, a protein, and a healthy fat. That helps our body get the optimal nutrition, and then when we exercise like we're supposed to, we're becoming the fittest person that we can be, okay? So for example, if you're exercising Monday through Friday, what I would do if I was training with you on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would do strength training and short cardio bursts, okay? On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would maybe do some stretching and flexibility. On the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, I used to tease my clients, I called it LSD. I don't want anybody to do drugs, but on the weekends when people tend to have more time, you want to do that long, slow, steady workout. And the reason for that is the slower and the longer gets more of that fat burning potential. So all of us benefit from that on a weekend where we get that long, slow, steady burn, but then the rest of the week we're doing something for stretching and flexibility, which is activities I got to be able to reach. But also on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or if you just want to do Tuesday, Thursday, but at least 2 or 3 days a week, you should be doing some strength training, okay? I'm going to be doing some new videos so that we can get some more workouts. And that's going to hopefully help those of us that are stuck at home to be able to do some fitness. I'm going to add some balance videos. So look on our DSI YouTube website. Those videos are going to be posted there. There's still some art and old cooking class videos on there that we can reference also at any time. Those are all posted on YouTube. So don't be afraid to use those over again because we're stuck at home. We want to have some tools that we can give our clients. All right? So happy training, and let's get our clients more active and moving. Let's eat healthier. Let's get our 5 and 5. And I will see everybody next week for nutrition class, okay? Thanks for joining, everybody. Bye.